On the bookmarks page, another way of using the bookmarks grid and the bookmarks list could be to generate the grid view and list view in methods instead of their own widget classes. Let's call these two methods getBookmarksGridWidget and getBookmarksListWidget. Let's copy the contents of the bookmarks grid widget in the getBookmarksGridWidget method and repeat the same process for the list. Now, both bookmarksGridWidget and getBookmarksGridWidget method have the same implementation, but there are some differences in terms of performance in both of these cases. So when we decide to use methods instead of widget classes, we lose out on the advantage offered by hot reload. On hot reloading, only the part of the entire widget that changes is rebuilt. Since we are using methods in our body instead of widget classes, Flutter cannot assume that since there were no changes in this method, let's not rebuild it. This is only available for widgets. Since we have methods, Flutter would have no option but to call these methods again, and hence our list view or grid view would be rebuilt on every hot reload. Secondly, we lose some refactoring capabilities when using methods instead of widget classes. For example, we can easily convert the bookmarks grid widget class to be a stateful widget instead of a stateless widget with just a click. But we won't be able to do this with methods. The third advantage of using widget classes is that every widget has its own build method, which gives us access to the right build context. If we use methods instead, we would be using the context passed down to that method from the widget above it, which may work in most cases but isn't the most efficient thing to do. The fourth advantage of using widgets over methods involves the concept of keys. A key in Flutter is a unique identifier for each widget. Since keys can only be used with widgets and not methods, we lose out on its advantages when using methods instead. Flutter highly encourages us to use keys for our widgets, especially for those that are reused at multiple places all across our app. The fifth advantage is about reuse. Flutter highly prefers composition over extension of classes. The Flutter framework has a set of complex widgets that have been decomposed into as many smaller widgets as possible, with a different widget responsible for each of the visual, interaction, and motion design parts. Since Flutter prefers composition over inheritance, widgets are not supposed to be extended. This is why there are no examples or tutorials on how to do it. Creating a widget for everything allows for an easier and more efficient reuse than when using methods. Moreover, in a specific use case like ours, where we are switching over widgets based on a condition doesn't dispose of the resources efficiently for the widget that's no longer visible. Switching layouts when using standalone widget classes to represent them handles disposing of resources perfectly. Hence, let's revert our changes and switch back to using widget classes for bookmarks grid and bookmarks list instead of methods. If you feel that writing widget classes involves more lines of code than using methods, you may want to use live templates for those widget classes so that you're not writing the structure of your widget every time you need to create a new one. Live templates have been discussed in an earlier lesson in this course. For more information on the concepts mentioned in this lesson, check out the links in the lesson notes.